Please like and subscribe. Let's grow NAIA basketball. Thank you. Cascade Hoops Talk, bringing the world NAIA basketball one podcast at a time. Cascade Hoops Talk, Billy D. Well, it's Wednesday. It's December 13th. We're getting closer and closer to Christmas, and I just want to let everybody know, whatever you got me, it's going to be just fine. Don't worry. So some big games last night. There was an upset we're going to talk about. We're going to go over some conference standings, and we're also going to talk to Brandon McGruder. He's the head men's basketball coach of the Mayville Comets. So a lot to get through. Let's get started. So tonight, Grace College goes over to Lindsey Wilson. They ended up beating them 79-65. They go to 11-0. Cade Gibbs, man, he had a night. 26 points, 12 rebounds. Elijah Malone, 12 points, 9 rebounds, just missing the double-double. This is what's so tough about Grace. I mean, every night it seems like it's a different guy. And, Lindsey Wilson hung with them. Got to give him credit. But Grace just put him away at the end to go to 11-0. Next up for Grace is Cornerstone on December 19th. That's a program. I don't care what records are. When they come to town, you better be ready. Coach Elders does a great job there, and they'll come in and they'll give Grace everything they can handle. Also last night, Georgetown went up to Mishawaka, took on Bethel up in Indiana. They lost that game 85-80. They go to 10-2. In this game for Bethel, Drew Lutz, what a facilitator. He was just amazing in this game last night. He just darts around through the trees. He causes chaos for the defense, and he scored 29 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists to fill up the stat line. And then James Anderson, 15 points, 9 rebounds, just missing the double-double. But he's a big dude, and his strength and toughness was really critical because, Georgetown plays a really tough brand of basketball. So James Anderson was really critical to that win. So Georgetown, they go to 10-2, and right after the first of the year, they are going to play Miami Hamilton. Wayland Baptist, they had a really tight game last night. Oklahoma Panhandle, it was really back and forth. Wayland Baptist, they went up by 5 with about a minute to go, and then Oklahoma Panhandle came down. They hit a 3. And then Panhandle got a stop. And then Abdullah Diaby, he hit a 2 with 6 seconds to go to tie it up for Oklahoma Panhandle. It looked like we were going to free basketball, but give Wayland Baptist credit. Rodney Carson, he scored basically at the buzzer. Give Oklahoma Wayland Baptist that win over Oklahoma Panhandle, 73-71. Wayland Baptist is 7-3 right now. DeMichael Belfield, another guy, just had a night, man. 27 points, 10 rebounds. And Brett Leach, 12 points, 7 rebounds. Wayland Baptist will play again just after the first of the year, and they'll take on USAO Science of Arts. Ave Maria, okay, they go to 10-2 tonight. Do you remember back in November 29th, they made the top 25, and the next day they got beat at Florida National 88-78. So just remember that. So tonight they played Florida National at Ave Maria. They won this game 109-86, but they jumped on Florida National. They took a 30-point halftime lead. Do you think they remembered that game? They were out to make a statement, man. Michael Klekas, he's really tough for Ave Maria. 28 points, 10 rebounds. Jack Watkins, 24 points, 6 rebounds. This pair right here had Ave Maria played back-to-back. They played last night as well. This pair right here had a great couple of nights for Ave Maria. Next up on December 29th, the 10-2 Gyrenes will take on Brescia December 29th. And if I'm saying the name of that school, let me know if I'm saying it wrong. Okay, so we caught up with Coach Brandon McGruder. He's head men's basketball coach of the Mayville Comets. They play up in the North Star. It doesn't get as much attention as some other conferences, but they're 9-2, and they have a 6-game winning streak. They don't start North Star play until after the first of the year, but we wanted to get a hold of Coach McGruder and talk some Mayville Comet and North Star basketball. Cascade Hoops Talk, Billy D. Hey, I got Brandon McGruder. He's the head men's basketball coach at Mayville, the Mayville Comets up in North Dakota. Thank you, Coach, for being on.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, you have a really good team this year. It's not a slam on the North Star, but sometimes when you play up there in the North Star, you don't get as much attention as some of the, the Crossroads teams or the WAC, or you fly a little bit under the radar. But you guys, well, on fire. Just talk about your team a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, we're playing good basketball right now, and, I think a lot of guys are contributing in a lot of ways. It helps having guys like Tom Gieske and Jameson Kramer on your team. They make my job a little bit easier, and they're just really good guys to be around and coach, and I think, we brought in quite a blended team. I have 4 guys that played for me previously, that we brought into the mix here, and I think everybody's gotten along, greatly, both on and off the court. They're starting to mesh on the court too. They're starting to get that chemistry and starting to play well. We're starting to clean some things up defensively, and I think that as well as we're playing right now, the good news for me that kind of brings me a little bit of joy is that I think there's a lot of room for improvement that we can clean up, both offensively and defensively. So I think if we can continue to get better every single day, I think that we can hopefully make some noise and win some games. But right now it's just that time where we're just trying to get better and prepare ourselves for North Star play.
I'm going to go back to your overall stats and how well you guys are performing, but you mentioned Gieske and Kramer. They're both seniors. They're really lighting it up for you. They're both around 15 points a game, 5-6 rebounds a game. They're both from generally the local area up there. Just talk about those two. I know you mentioned them, but just how special they are for your program.
Absolutely. I mean, Tom Gieske is the backbone of our program. He's been here for his 5th year here at Mayville. He's had great success as a player, and we really rely on him. And Tom's a guy that you don't need to run sets for him necessarily. He's a guy that can create his shot off the bounce. And a lot of his points are second chance opportunities. He's just a workhorse.
Okay.
He's a guy that brings his hard hat every day and plays his tail off, and he goes on and he gets those garbage points, if you will, that a lot of guys are too cool for. He goes and gets them, and he has no problem doing that. He's a guy I joked around last year. He's a guy that can give you 20 and 10 and then help clean up the gym afterwards. And then there's been multiple times where he's done that. And it's just a tremendous program kid to have a guy like that around, and having him be able to, the newcomers and the freshmen within the program has been spectacular. And then Jameson Kramer is a guy that he's just a matchup problem. We've gone small in order to try to play fast and kind of speed up the tempo, and I think Jameson playing the 5, he's probably a natural 3 or 4, but we have him play at the 5, and he just creates some of the matchup problems where some of the bigs can't get out and guard him necessarily on the perimeter, which gives him a lot of open looks, and we give him the freedom to shoot, and he's shooting the ball really well. I mean, last year he was our leader in 3-pointers made and percentage coming from our 5 spot on the team that led the nation in scoring. So we really rely on him to get going from the perimeter and finish around the basket. And I think he's been doing a really good job of that. And I think in the last maybe 2 or 3 weeks he's really came into his own.
They're really performing well for you this year. Coach, what I wanted to talk to you about, if you look at your, just your overall statistics for the year, you're shooting, you're 5th in the nation in shooting percentage, 53%. And you're shooting 37% from 3, but you're defending on the other end. You're almost top 10. You're holding teams to 27% from 3, and then you're out rebounding teams as well by 8. You're in the top 25 in rebounding margin. I mean that's a pretty complete look. Where are the areas that you feel like the team has some room to improve?
I think that as good as it's been as holding teams to 27%, I still think in some of our losses, particularly Jamestown, we let guys get going, in the second half where they got good looks, and they have extremely talented shooters and veteran players that's had success at the national level and national tournament. And I thought we did a pretty good job in the first half of guarding those, and in the second half we kind of lost focus of that. I think we could do a little bit better job of closing out the shooters and a little bit better and contesting shots and just getting a little bit quicker on our rotations. I think we're kind of, again, it helps having, returners coming back from this year and also guys that played for me previous that kind of know my defensive philosophy. And we're getting better at that. I mean, we still got to clean some things up as far as some of the baseline drive rotations and, kind of some of the X outs. But I think, we'll just continue to work on that and get better every day. And I think a large part of and I tell our guys all the time, is part of our offensive philosophy that, some of the rebounding advantages that we do have helps in the sense that we try to play fast. And
right.
We try to get the ball down the court, not necessarily get up quick shots, but we want to move the ball down the court fast. And that makes teams get back, and sometimes that changes their game plan. Sometimes, if teams are sending 3 or 4 guys to the glass, in a particular game, and they play us, usually they only send about 1 or 2 just because they're getting back. And that's a part of our philosophy, and that's what we want to try to do. We want to try to advance the ball quick, try to put pressure on the rim early, and if not, getting into our offense after that. But I think that also helps with our rebounding, and yeah, I think that if we can continue to do that and push the pace and play tough, I think that we can get better.
Coach, you have a couple tests before Christmas. You're going to go down the road a piece to Brookings, and you're going to play South Dakota State on Thursday. That's an exhibition game. How do you prepare the team for that? Is it just a regular prep?
We go into all these games, with the focus to win. A lot of coaches have different perspectives on how they play exhibition games. Some teams go in there, they play their whole bench. Some teams go in there and only travel, a few amount of players. But it's an opportunity for us to play, a Division I team. A lot of our guys aspire to be Division I players, and we use that as fuel, in this game. I think it's a great opportunity for our program and for our guys to play on what I consider one of the top teams in the Summit League, and on their home court. And the guys that have had dreams and aspirations of playing Division I basketball, this is their opportunity to go out there and compete. And I want to make sure that I give those guys the opportunity. Along with that, they have an NBA level talent in Zeke Mayo. I think he'll be, potentially Summit League Player of the Year, and then there's another opportunity for guys to play against somebody that may get drafted here in a year or two. So there's a lot of excitement here, and it doesn't take much to get these guys going for that. There's a lot at stake, but I want them to embrace the moment, have fun, and I think it's just a great overall opportunity. And I thank South Dakota State tremendously for allowing us this opportunity. I think it's going to be fun for our guys and our fans.
No, I completely agree with you. Tip of the hat to South Dakota State to play you. D1 programs are getting less and less free with scheduling NAIA programs, is what I've noticed. More and more of them get knocked off. So that's a great opportunity for not only your program but the guys on your team. I'm happy they get that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. We ran into some issues of getting some of those Division I games, but again, I'm glad South Dakota State, is taking this opportunity to play us. I think they played a couple other NAIA teams, and I think it's just great for basketball up here in the Dakotas. I think that it's a great opportunity to showcase talents on both ends, and it's just a great opportunity for both teams.
And then, Coach, you're going to end 2023 by looking for, I'll use the word little revenge. You go down to Jamestown, a team that you mentioned got you up there in Mayville. It always seems to me, looking from afar, that whenever a North Star team plays a GPAC team, there's always a little special oomph to the game. And since they beat you in your place, how focused are your guys on getting down to Jamestown and playing that game?
I think they're really excited. We don't talk much Jamestown until Friday.
Right.
But I know there's a great sense of urgency to get down there and play. I think that that they got us up here on our home court, which we try to protect that. I believe that was my first loss here at home, and it definitely left a sour taste in our mouth. I think that's a game that I think we played well for quite a bit of that game, and we were up, I think, 11 at halftime and came back and lost by 3. It's more like 6. I think we hit a shot at the buzzer to make it a one possession game, but they really kind of dominated the second half, and we really have to clean some things up. And I think that they're playing well right now. They're getting back and they're finding their groove.
Yeah,
they're making shots. They have really good players. They have really good shooters that's at their home court. I mean, they have a lot of advantages in that sense. So we just have to make sure that we come ready to play. But again, it's a great opportunity to play a GPAC team, a team that's been in the, Sweet 16 and, run deep national tournament runs these past few years. So it's a great opportunity for us to play. And, like you said, it's a GPAC game. It's also an in-state game. And, I think it's good for potential recruits and such as well that will be there. And, but yeah, we definitely remember the loss, and we're going to come in there with a focus to try to end the what I call it the first season of this year, and the second season would obviously be the conference season. But it's a great opportunity for us to go in there and compete and win, and going into break at 11-2 would phenomenal. I think that'd be really good spot for us. Hopefully we can get some national attention and receive some votes. But yeah, we're kind of one task at a time. It's a tough week, and we got finals this week, so a lot of our plate this week. But we're looking forward to it. So I try to keep it one thing at a time. Finals, and then South Dakota State. Once South Dakota State's over with, finals are over with, and then we get to have our focus for a couple of days on Jamestown.
There you go. That's the only way to do it. Coach, before I let you go, I want to ask you about the North Star. The North Star Conference seems stronger than it has been in the last few years. A lot of preseason wins that surprised a few people. You're going to enter North Star play January 12th. You host Viterbo. Just talk about the North Star this season, and what do you expect?
I think it's extremely competitive. I think it's going to be loaded from top to bottom. There's not going to be a game where we can overlook. And I think North Star isn't such an overrated league, or not overrated, underrated league in a lot of different ways. Teams are extremely talented. They're very competitive. I think we against top 25. I think we're this is maybe not accurate, but I think we're like 2-0 or 2-1, something like that, against top 25 opponents. Throughout our league, I think it's extremely competitive. And not only that, our league's different than most any other league in the country in the sense that we play Friday, Saturday. So we're playing Friday night on the road, traveling 3 or 4 hours, getting into the hotels 1 or 2 in the morning, and then playing the next day. And that's extremely tough on guys, and extremely tough on teams. And to be able to have that, be able to come back Saturday and play is extremely tough. So winning on the road in the North Star, I think, is one of the toughest places to do so. I've coached in the Heart, where you play, I think it was Wednesday, Saturday, so you got a couple of days to prepare for your upcoming opponent. But this day, you have, 1 week to prep for 2 teams, and, you're on the road, and you're getting, like I said, getting in the hotel about 2 in the morning, and then you guys have to get up, breakfast, shoot around, film, and then to compete, later on that afternoon is extremely difficult and tiring. And I think that, some people don't really understand that and know how tough that is. And again, I think it's extremely competitive. I think our league's really good. I look forward to this year. I think it'll be extremely, like I said, extremely competitive. And we're going to have to play our best in order to.
Well, Coach, I wish you luck. Go down and beat South Dakota State, and then you got a big game with Jamestown. Wish you luck as you finish out the year. And then you come back from Christmas break, and you get right into you have a couple more games, non-cons, and then you're going to get right into North Star action. Wish you luck as you get going.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Bill, for having me.
Thanks a lot. That's Brandon McGruder. He's the head men's basketball coach, Mayville University. Thank you, Coach. Hey, thanks to Brandon McGruder and to Mayville University, the Comets, for Coach McGruder being on. Really enjoyed that conversation. If you're an SID or a head coach, like to get on the show, just shoot me a note on Twitter, or you can email me at cascadehoopstalk@gmail.com, Twitter, or cascadehoopstalk@gmail.com. Want to get as many coaches as we can on. We try to do 4 to 5 interviews a week. We want to hear from as many coaches as we can. I want to take a look at some of the conferences. I know it looks like a lot of stuff. I'll try to get through them fairly quick. But if we look right here, let's go to the Heart and the Chicagoland first. In the Heart, Graceland is already up in the conference 6-0. Baker 7-1. You can see the standings there. Central Methodist, Mid-American Nazarene, Park, Peru State. Then you get down to a -500. So it's really, they play a lot of games in the Heart. That's where that is. Chicagoland, Roosevelt, and IU South Bend, two teams. Roosevelt's not really a surprise. They had a very good, they had a very good season last year. IU South Bend is a little bit of a surprise that they're right where they are. Olivet Nazarene 3-1, Indiana Northwest 3-1, and St. Ambrose. So let's look at the other two. We've got in the Sooner 4-0 is Langston John Brown, very good team. 4-1, Science and Arts 3-1, Sagu at 2-1. So there's really not a ton of games yet played in the Sooner, but that's how it's lining up. Another conference that's got already played a ton of conference games is the Appalachian. You can see Pikeville, and by the way, we're going to have Ty Compton on tomorrow. He was Hoop Dirt Coach of the Week for Pikeville. Union is right back up there. Remember, there was a lot of concern about just how good Union would be. Columbia International surprising a lot of people. So right now it's kind of a 3-team race in that Appalachian. So we'll continue to pull up these conferences, one or two a day, depending on how many games. If we have time, we'll pull up 3 or 4. But that's, I've said it a million times, that's the real race. The top 25 is a beauty pageant. This is the real race. Hey, thank you very much. We'll talk to you tomorrow.